Hey you guys, this is Makanor, and welcome back old subscribers and welcome new subscribers. I just want to share my feelings on why I don't like being in occult and spiritual groups, whether it's online or offline. For starters, with occult and spiritual belief, as with any other set of principles, ideals, practices, and guidelines, there's open interpretation. We could all be reading the same book, the same paragraphs, the same sentences, the same words, the same letters, and we could all be practicing and following the same daily rituals. And some of us will have or take something different from the books that we read. Some of us will have different experiences and feelings towards the rituals that we practice. And I feel like with spiritual and occult belief groups, it should be this open sharing atmosphere where people should be able to respectfully share their own perspectives and their own interpretations and their own experiences. And they should be able to have mature and respectful discussions and debates. However, from my own experiences in spiritual and occult groups, there's always people that want to enforce their own interpretation and perspective as the only interpretation and perspective. And so they try to invalidate or discredit other people's interpretations and experiences. And for me, that's always just been a big turnoff for a group. Because, I mean, we all are experiencing the same thing. We're all following the same path. We just have different viewpoints and different perspectives of the same path. And to me, it just sounded stupid because if me and you are both standing on a road, we can both be looking forward. You're going to be seeing a different viewpoint than I'm going to be seeing, even though we're standing side by side on the same road. It doesn't mean that we're not going down the same path. It doesn't mean that I'm going down the wrong path. It doesn't mean that you're going down the wrong path. It doesn't mean that what you're seeing and experiencing is wrong. It means that we just both have different viewpoints of the same path. And that we can respect that. We can still get along. We can still reach the same destination down the road, even if we view the road differently. And another huge turnoff for me about occult and spiritual groups, online and offline, is that there's always this type of dick measuring contest. Excuse my French if you're younger viewers. But there's always this type of measuring contest about who has the most spiritual and occult experience, who's read the most books, who's done the most rituals. And with these type of people, they always try to make themselves, they always try to freaking inflate their own egos. They always try to throw around their own experience. And for them, anyone else that doesn't have anywhere near the same amount of experience as them doesn't have a right to talk. And to me, I don't feel like that should be the point. I should feel like, okay, you have experience, you have expertise, you've read books, you've done this, you've done that. That's great, and I respect that. I appreciate that. I appreciate your wisdom. But at the same time, we're all people at the same table. We're all coming to the same table, so we should all have the same equal voice. And I feel like when people try to throw around their experience or expertise to try to discredit someone else, even though the other person makes a fairly reasonable and valid point, I feel like it's just really a douchebag move. It's really just arrogance and pride. And I think another huge turnoff for me about spiritual and occult groups is this type of hive mentality. When everyone else gets up in arms about something or gets offended by something, you're supposed to magically go along with it, even though it's nothing to get offended about, it's nothing to get up in arms about. You're supposed to magically join it. You're supposed to magically be offended as well. And if you don't, you're somehow wrong. You're somehow outside. You're somehow a part of the problem. And I just never did understand that. I never did understand that. We should all be able to feel differently about things. And I feel like following the leader just because the leader's upset about something doesn't mean you should be upset about it. And I think a lot of times people just need to step back and use rational thought. Because I've been in too many groups where members would be up in arms or offended about something that they have no right to be offended by. And anyone who tries to present facts and reason and logic to them would be shot down as being a part of the problem. And it just infuriates me. And I think with occult groups, you can always with occult and spiritual groups, you always have the risk of something becoming a cult, something becoming a little bit fanatical or a little bit unorthodox. And I try to steer away from that. For me, I try to steer away from all those problems that I just pointed out in this video in occult and spiritual groups. That's why I try to be solitary. I try to be on my own because I don't want to deal with drama. I don't want someone to try to throw around their experience and expertise over me to make me feel stupid. I also don't want to be in a group where someone else believes that their interpretation is the one true interpretation and my interpretation has no part in the bigger picture. I don't want to be in a group where if I think differently or if I'm not offended by something, that I'm a part of the problem. I don't want to be in a group that discourages individuality and encourages this hive mentality or this cult like mentality. That's why I prefer to be solitary. That's why I prefer to be by myself when it comes to things like this, because I can move at my own pace. I can study at my own pace. I can practice at my own pace. I don't need somebody to breathe down my shoulder telling me what I'm doing is wrong or what or that I need to do it a different way. If I need to get someone else's input, I can freely go to someone else and get their input, but I prefer to do things solitary. And I feel like that's why a lot of spiritual and occult beliefs are now moving to more solitary trends, because being in groups nowadays is just it's very difficult to deal with people because people are just full of so much crap. This is Makanor. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell me if you've ever had any bad experiences with a spiritual or occult group or just any group in general. Bye.